Good afternoon, Lahore. How are you guys doing today? Doing well? All right, great. Well, I'm here especially for Future Fest from Dubai, and it's a great pleasure and honor to be here, guys. My name's Nida Sumar. I'm the founder of 60 Day Startups, which is an accelerator for underrepresented women. And we take them from 0 to 1, basically, within 3 phases of 60 days. It's a company that's registered in UAE and Canada, and very shortly in Pakistan as well. And we basically try to focus resolutely on not the fundraising part of the journey, but more on the revenue generation and how to become self-sustaining. So that's kind of a little bit in a nutshell about what 60DS does. Today, however, I'm not here to share my story specifically, but try and ignite and really do what other people have done on this stage before and inspire, and try and inspire a little bit as much as I can. So that you guys can craft your own stories of resilience, of empowerment, of success. In my journey with 60DS, I've had the honor of working with hundreds of women, but I see here that there are a few of them. Hi. But there is youth, and the same applies to all of you, right? So take it as you will. Take what you need from this talk and use it where you need to. Regardless of age, gender, there are a couple of pointers that I will share, which I've learned over working with over 5 cohorts and 3.5 years of working with hundreds of women from all over the globe, but also hundreds of startups. I also work with advising the governments of the UAE and Saudi to help them build their ecosystems, their startup ecosystems. So like I said, these are pointers that are quite generic, and if you apply them, you'll find them useful. So the first step to unlocking your potential is really to liberate your mind from the clutches of what I like to say, victim mentality, right? It is this, we're living in this in this world of like constant noise, of things being spewed out, whether it's media or social media, of moving towards a culture of cancel culture, blame games, victim mentality. That's what I think we need to start removing ourselves from. You need to take charge of your own agencies, right? And be courageous enough to define whatever your narrative of success means to you. It is your responsibility, no one else's. No one's going to invite you to the table. You're going to have to make a place for yourself, right? Whether you're too young to be at that table, your gender's different, none of that matters. The first limitation is in your head. It's like, oh, I was not invited. No, you self-invite yourself. So today, more than any other day bygone, honestly, it is a great day to be alive. We've progressed as humanity. To be a woman, because many opportunities that exist today never did before. Our ancestors have never seen opportunities like this before. And for the youth, because knowledge has not been so easy to have at your fingertips as easy as it is today, ever before, right? So over the last 10 years, in Pakistan, we've moved from only 10 to 13% of female participation in the workforce to about now 22%. And globally, that phenomenon is at about 50%. So really, the metrics really speak. The same thing is for the youth, right? And all the success stories that come out of young of young populations that are working within their startups. These are all metrics that you need to be inspired by. You can always see the flip side of metrics too. And there's this conversation usually that there's not enough funding, there's not enough this or that. But really, if you look at the flip side, the opportunities outweigh the bad metrics. So let's focus our energies on the metrics that really work for you instead of against you. And that is going to help you also overcome this victim mentality, this blame game, this thing that I can't because. No, the narrative needs to change to I can because, right? So what I'm asking you to do is embrace the power within you. You don't need to be shackled by your fears or your limitations, whether you set them yourself in your head or they're set for you. Like yesterday, Jimmy was talking on the stage, on the main stage. So was Arzish and a couple of other speakers. And they were talking about how in this culture we need to do what we're told or do what our parents expect us to, et cetera, et cetera. However, I truly believe this is a time where all of those things are kind of coming undone. And you don't need to be paralyzed by the fear of whatever anyone else expects you to do. Take risks. This is a great time to take risks. Take cheap risks, because it is a great time to take very cost-effective risks. You live in a wonderful country where you have opportunities left, right, and center. Make use of those, right? Don't see that the grass is greener on the other side. You yourselves have one of the deepest untouched populations in the entire world. And that is to say something, that this is an opportunity ripe for the taking. Success is not the province of a few. It's a realm open to all of us, any one of us. Any one of us can choose to be successful. And these are the internal shifts that I'm asking you guys to make. More action, less talk, and try to understand that you can easily, it's the external, limitations that we think are bigger than our internal ones are not true. Because globally, if you see, it's super easy to dedicate a few $100,000 to set up a fund for women or to set up a fund for youth. It's happening left, right, and center. It is the limitations in your mind that are going to be the most difficult ones to overcome. And once you overcome those, you're going to find opportunities everywhere, because they are everywhere, right? Saudi, UAE, Pakistan, everywhere you go, there's a certain percentage of the economy that is being dedicated to startups, that is being dedicated to youth, that is being dedicated to underrepresented minorities, or just entrepreneurs in general. You can all take advantage of these opportunities that exist everywhere. Now, another important, I guess, or actually, let me give you an example. There's a lot of youth here today. Just by a show of hands, how many of you guys are students? Oh, whoa, okay. Awesome, thank you for being here, guys. So I'll tell you a story of a fellow then that came yesterday, right? So she met me. We have a fellowship program at 60 Day Startups that takes young students like yourselves. We put them through 1 year of training, and they come out on the other side incredibly polished, all ready to, take on the world and every opportunity that exists. So she came over and she asked me, she was like, I don't know what to do. I'm interested in so many things. How many of you guys feel the same way? How many of you guys feel like you have too many interests? and you don't know what to do. Okay, 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 okay. Awesome. Well, thanks. So I told her that, take the risk. Instead of wishful thinking and trying to understand what it would be like to go into one direction, it is time to take risks, small risks, do projects, do everything you can to understand how you feel about doing the work you're doing. Does it really make sense to you? Do you want to do this for the rest of your life? Take these small little projects, understand through experimentation. Make your journey a scientific one, the one that requires you to do stuff. More execution, less wishful thinking. Take risks because now's the time you can. Really, if you think about it, this is the greatest time to be a risk taker. Not really when you have 4 kids, a mortgage to pay, and a car, and like all of those things. So take all the risks that you can, understand what you really love to do, and then pursue it passionately. And do all the hard work you can, because there really is no substitute for hard work. Right? Now, the other issue that I wanted to talk about in terms of gender, right, is that we often discuss the gender gaps in funding, and we honestly, I don't want to negate it because it exists. These are the facts. These are statistics. And the same may be true for youth or, brown culture, whatever. Right? You can impose these metrics on anything of underrepresented minorities, whichever ones they may be. But it's important to realize, I will continue to talk about action. I will not say that there aren't problems. I respect that these problems have been identified, but now that these problems are identified, there's no point talking about them again and again. There's millions of people talking about how the funding gap exists for people, how there's discrimination, how there's all of these things. Like, let's be solution focused though. And let us not forget that the solution also starts with us. These metrics that you have of underfunded startups owned by people of color or women are because we also tend to underrepresent ourselves. The self-imposed limitation of not participating. That's the first thing I saw here, right? I'm talking about a very female-focused subject, but really less than 5% of this room is female. And that means that participation is the first step towards getting to solving the bigger issues of, am I not being chosen because of X? No, you're not being chosen because you didn't show up, So show up is the first step, right? Participate in whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you need to step out of your comfort zone, right? This non-participation is kind of like being very cozy, comfy in your comfort zone, not moving out, not moving out and taking on risk or talking to people. I bet a lot of times when I've spoken, the number of women that come over and speak to me versus the men, that it far outweighs. It's just that you don't want to take the risk, you don't want to look stupid or any of those things, and those are your limitations. If you free yourselves of those, like I said, the next step will be participation. So once you participate, slowly and surely, you unlock the next steps. Right, I'll tell you a story. I'll illustrate this about the self-limitations that we put on ourselves with a story about a lady that started at 60 Day Startups, who's founded a company called Blandwear, which works on menswear, men's loungewear, and I was trying to get her to get moving, right, and Shanzi here, I think you would remember one of the ladies. Our fellows from 60DS are representing here. So she would not take a decision to move forward, right? And I was just confused. I'm like, why is this lady not moving on with whatever is needed? And it turns out that she had outsourced for the longest time in her life every decision in her life. And she had forgotten how to take a decision. And that is why she wasn't taking it. She cried. It was an emotional moment for her to realize, to acknowledge that this is a limitation that she's posed on herself. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to kind of think through and work yourselves out of, the limitations that you put on yourselves. Today she has an e-shop. She's at every market that there is in Dubai. She's generating a healthy income. She has a manufacturing company in UAE that employs a couple of employees as well. So we have to understand, like, every skill, every endeavor is like a muscle in training, like the decision-making thing. She forgot how to do it. It's not different for anything else, like taking risks or, networking, selling, facing any challenge that entrepreneurship brings. In fact, even entrepreneurship itself is a muscle. I've done it 4 times now, I'll tell you about the 4th time towards the end, but I've done it 3 times now. It happens to get easier every time, honestly. Interestingly, people also trust you more the more you do it. It becomes a very inherent, very natural instinct for you, right? So people trust you more. 2nd-time founders, 3rd-time founders have a much easier time raising funds than a 1st-time founder. There must be a reason for that. I mean, all the investors out there that have made their millions and billions doing investing in companies are not stupid. They understand that this person's experience, they've gone through a journey, and I can trust them to know what they're doing. So the stronger, I'll share another story with you of a lady called Sonia. She founded NutriCal, which is another startup that 60-day startups, supported. And it's a food labeling, food tech company. And she started 3 years ago. And I remember that she came to me with her first pitch, and she would not, I told her, I'm like, Sonia, you're not gonna get the funding that you're pitching for. She didn't listen to me, and I'm very grateful that she didn't. She didn't get the funding, but she pitched. And then she pitched again. And then she pitched again. And then she pitched again, and again, and again, and again. She did that about 35, 40 times. And today she exists in 3 countries, in just 3 years. She's not raised any capital, but guess what happened? Her business is thriving. She's just, she just generated a revenue of $300,000, and not bat an eye. Honestly, it's almost it's astounding what resilience will do, what basically that muscle in training could do. But she didn't quit. And that's the next thing that I want to talk about. It's like, once you take that step, once you are out there, now your job is to not quit. Because that's hard, right? Once you take that step, you're like, oh man, maybe the next one's going to be a no again. Oh damn, this one's a no too. Am I not doing good enough? Is this not going to work? All these crazy self-doubts things starts happening, right? That's that moment when you're like, should I even go out again? Should I even talk to this next one again? And guess what? You should. Because that's what not quitting means. You should take that next step. Because the difference between a no and a hell yes is just one, technically. It's just one step. So every single time, it's just one step. It's just that it has to be every single time. And so that's what I want you to remember as you go out there, as you hear your no's, which you will, and you should, because that's what makes a very, very strong entrepreneur, really. And here's what I want to say. Extraordinary, the title of the workshop, Extraordinary Women or Men, are not fundamentally different from anyone else in this room, you know. Success really knows no gender. It knows hard work. It knows resilience. It's not a biased thing. Success is not biased. It's there for everyone. It's there for all of you. And once you remove the lens that you see the world with, once you remove the shackles, once you remove all the limitations, you will find that there are no biases, that the most biased person in the room against you is you. That's what you'll realize. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that let this not be a gender thing where I cannot, or let this not be a demographic thing where you cannot do something, but you can. That's all I'm trying to say. And so today there's, I want you to take risks, believe in yourself unwaveringly, pen down your own narrative, make your own success story, and refuse to surrender when faced with adversity, right? Transform these actions into habits. Get your muscles to train. And there will be no limits to your potential, really, regardless of what color, creed, sex you are. Doesn't matter. So today's not just a gathering, it's a call to action. As you leave this event, I want you to remember that the power to shape your destiny resides within you. Embrace your uniqueness, shatter all the glass ceilings that there are, and rewrite all the rules. Invite yourselves to tables you weren't invited to, of progress, of innovation, of academia, of thinking, of ideas, of whatever it is. Wherever you feel like going, invite yourself to that place. What's the worst that could happen? No. And that's where you take the next, where you go to the next step. And you try again, and you go again. Until they're so used to seeing you, they're like, okay, come on. we'll hear what you've got to say. So there is really no force on this earth more powerful than a determined human being and soul. So it's time for all of you to unleash that power, unleash that extraordinary potential. And as Arzish and the Future Fest team, I think, has rightly put it, it's kind of like, I want you to say, challenge accepted to whatever it is in your life, right? I just want to, I hope from all the things that I've said, you're able to take some inspiration, something to take back, something to think about, something to unshackle yourselves with. And I'd like to also take a moment to thank you for your time, for listening, for embarking on this journey of empowerment and transformation together over the last 3 days. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any. Also want to make a small announcement. So my fourth startup is launching in Karachi. For the first time, I'm becoming an entrepreneur in Pakistan, which is, thanks guys. It's an industry that I'm incredibly passionate about, wellness and fermented foods, and I'd love to connect with anyone that is from the industry. I'd love to connect with all of you and see what synergies there are, but I would also love to connect with you for anything else, otherwise 60DS, you know, UAE, Middle East related. And Thank you, Future Fest, for having me. It's been a wonderful 3 days. It's been very, very inspirational. And I'm hoping that I get to see all of you wonderful people and hear wonderful, wonderful stories of what's gone in the past year, next year. Thank you for having me.